Did you know that George Lucas had plans for a sequel trilogy that were completely different from what Disney gave us? Darth Maul was set to return as the big bad with Darth Talon by his side. But what if those plans came to fruition? What if we got to see Lucas's vision unfold with Princess Leia as the central hero battling against the resurgent Sith? Let's explore this alternate Star Wars timeline where Disney never entered the picture. The Clone Wars, a never-ending saga. Picture a galaxy where the Clone Wars never ended, where the conflict between the Republic and the Separatists continues to escalate year after year. The battles grow more intense, the casualties mount, and the very fabric of the Star Wars universe we know begins to unravel. What if this war, meant to be a pivotal moment in galactic history, became an endless struggle? As the conflict drags on, we'd see our beloved characters evolve in ways we never imagined. Anakin Skywalker, instead of falling to the dark side in a sudden turn, might slowly lose his grip on the light as the horrors of war chip away at his idealism. Obi-Wan Kenobi could become a hardened general, his wit and charm replaced by a grim determination to end the fighting. And Ahsoka Tano, she might rise to become one of the most formidable Jedi in the Order, her skills honed by years of combat. The war would likely spread to new corners of the galaxy, introducing us to planets and species we've never seen before. Imagine massive space battles over the crystal moons of Christophsis, or guerrilla warfare in the dense jungles of Felucia. The Separatists might even push into the core worlds, bringing the fight to the doorstep of Coruscant itself. But it's not just the characters and battles that would change. The entire galactic society would be reshaped by this never-ending conflict. The Republic might become increasingly militarized, with civil liberties eroded in the name of security. The Jedi Order could find itself drifting further from its peacekeeping roots, becoming more of a military force than guardians of justice. As for the Separatists, would their cause remain just in the eyes of their supporters, or would war fatigue set in? We might see new factions emerge, planets declaring neutrality or even forming their own alliances to escape the crossfire between the two main powers. The longer the Clone Wars rage on, the more the lines between good and evil would blur. Both sides would likely commit acts that challenge our perception of who the good guys really are. And what about Palpatine's grand plan? Without the dramatic conclusion of Order 66, how would he maintain his grip on power and progress towards his goal of a galactic empire? In this alternate timeline, the Clone Wars wouldn't just be a chapter in Star Wars history, they'd become the entire story. The saga as we know it would be fundamentally altered, with the rise of the Empire and the classic trilogy potentially never coming to pass. As we ponder these possibilities, one question looms large. In this war without end, what crucial role might Ahsoka Tano play? Her journey, free from Disney's influence, could take some truly unexpected turns. Ahsoka's alternate path. We've seen Ahsoka Tano evolve from a brash Padawan to a wise leader, but her true potential may have remained untapped. What if, instead of leaving the Jedi Order, Ahsoka had stayed to face the darkness growing within the Republic? Her presence could be the key to unlocking a completely different outcome for the galaxy and for Anakin Skywalker himself. As we know, Ahsoka's journey in the Clone Wars was a roller coaster of growth and challenges. She started as Anakin's eager apprentice and grew into a capable warrior and leader. But what if her path didn't end with her walking away from the Jedi Temple? Without Disney's influence, we might have seen Ahsoka face even greater trials that would test her beliefs and her connection to the Force. Imagine Ahsoka taking on a more prominent role in the Republic's military efforts. We could have seen her leading troops into battle against the Separatists, showcasing her growth as a commander. Picture Ahsoka standing on the bridge of a Star Destroyer, issuing orders as ships trade fire in the space above a contested world. Her tactical skills, honed by years of conflict, might have rivaled those of the greatest generals in the galaxy. But it's not just her military prowess that could have evolved. Ahsoka might have encountered new allies from the far reaches of the Star Wars universe. What if she crossed paths with characters like Mara Jade or formed alliances with entirely new figures created for the series. These connections could have opened up exciting storylines and added depth to the Star Wars lore we know and love. Of course, with new allies come new enemies. Ahsoka could have faced off against reimagined versions of classic villains or entirely new threats. Imagine her locked in an epic lightsaber duel with a dark-side user we've never seen before, their blades clashing as they battle for the fate of a planet or even the galaxy itself. Perhaps the most intriguing possibility is how Ahsoka's continued presence could have affected Anakin. Their relationship was always special, and with more time together, Ahsoka might have become the support Anakin desperately needed. Picture them confiding in each other. Ahsoka helping Anakin navigate his fears and doubts. Could her wisdom and loyalty have been enough to keep Anakin from falling to the dark side? As the Clone Wars dragged on, Ahsoka would likely face a major decision point. Would she stay true to the Jedi Order, even as doubts about their methods grew? Or would she forge her own path, creating a new way to serve the light side of the Force? This moment could have been a turning point, not just for Ahsoka, but for the entire Star Wars saga. Ahsoka's journey, free from Disney's influence, could have taken some truly unexpected twists and turns. Her choices and actions might have reshaped the entire Star Wars timeline as we know it. And as we consider these possibilities, we can't help but wonder, how would Ahsoka's alternate path have influenced the ultimate fate of Anakin Skywalker? Anakin's fate reimagined. The transformation of Anakin Skywalker into Darth Vader is a cornerstone of Star Wars lore, but what if we could rewrite that pivotal moment? Envision a scenario where the Clone Wars take an unexpected turn, presenting Anakin with choices that challenge everything he believes. As the galaxy burns around him, could a single decision change the course of his destiny and reshape the entire Star Wars saga as we know it? As we know, Anakin's fall to the dark side was a result of his fear of losing Padme, his feelings of betrayal by the Jedi Council, and Palpatine's manipulation. But what if the Clone Wars never ended? Anakin's journey could have taken a drastically different path. Imagine a galaxy where the conflict drags on for years, with Anakin growing more powerful but also more conflicted with each passing battle. In this extended war, Anakin's relationships would be put to the test. His secret marriage to Padme might become strained under the weight of prolonged separation and the horrors of war. On the flip side, his bond with Ahsoka could grow stronger, providing him with the emotional support he desperately needs. Picture Anakin and Ahsoka, battle-worn but united, confiding in each other about their doubts and fears. The longer the war continues, the more opportunities arise for new characters to enter Anakin's life. What if he encounters a wise Force user outside the Jedi Order who shows him a different perspective on the Force? Or perhaps a fellow general who understands the toll of command and helps Anakin navigate his growing responsibilities. These new relationships could provide Anakin with the guidance and support he never received from the Jedi Council. As the conflict escalates, Anakin might face increasingly difficult moral choices. Imagine a scenario where he's forced to choose between saving a planet full of innocents or completing a crucial mission for the Republic. These decisions could either push him closer to the dark side or reinforce his commitment to the light. The extended Clone Wars could also give Anakin more time to confront his inner demons. Without the rushed timeline of the original story, he might have the chance to truly grapple with his fears and anger. Picture Anakin meditating in the quiet moments between battles, struggling to find balance in the Force. All of this builds to a crucial moment of decision for Anakin. Instead of the sudden turn we saw in Revenge of the Sith, imagine a more gradual progression where Anakin stands at a crossroads. On one side, the path to power and control offered by the dark side. On the other, a harder road of self-reflection and growth within the light. The fate of the galaxy hangs on his choice. Could Anakin's fall have been prevented in this scenario? It's possible. With more time, support, and opportunities for growth, Anakin might have found the strength to resist the lure of the dark side. But even if he chooses the light, the galaxy would be forever changed. And as we ponder this alternate fate for Anakin, we can't help but wonder, how would this change the rise of the Empire? The Empire's altered rise. As we know, the original storyline saw Palpatine orchestrating the Clone Wars to weaken the Republic and the Jedi, ultimately leading to Order 66 and his declaration of the Galactic Empire. But in our alternate timeline, the prolonged conflict throws a hydro spanner in the works. The chaos of war creates unexpected obstacles for Palpatine's carefully laid plans. Picture Coruscant. Once a shining beacon of democracy, now a planet scarred by years of conflict. The Senate, originally manipulated with ease by Palpatine, becomes a hotbed of factions and competing interests as the war drags on. Palpatine and his allies like the ambitious Mas Amedda might find themselves constantly readjusting their strategies to maintain control. What about Grand Moff Tarkin? In this scenario, we might see him rising through the ranks not as an Imperial officer, but as a ruthless Republic commander. Imagine Tarkin leading brutal campaigns against separatist worlds, gradually instilling the fear and order that would become hallmarks of the Empire. But it's not just the big players who'd change the game. As the conflict grinds on, new resistance movements could emerge from the chaos. Picture disillusioned clone troopers joining forces with Jedi who've grown weary of the Republic's methods. These groups might start as small cells but could grow into significant threats to Palpatine's power. The Separatist Alliance, too, would evolve in unexpected ways. Without a clear end to the war, figures like Count Dooku might start to question their allegiances. Could we see a scenario where some Separatist worlds ally with Republic dissidents, creating a third faction in this galactic conflict? As for the ultimate fate of the Republic and the Separatists, the lines between them might blur beyond recognition. Imagine a galaxy fractured into multiple power blocks, with Palpatine's influence spreading like a shadow across them all. The Empire, in this timeline, might rise not as a single monolithic force, but as a web of controlled territories and puppet governments. In the end, the Empire's altered rise in this scenario paints a picture of a more complex, fragmented galaxy. Without Disney's influence, we might have seen a Star Wars universe where the struggle between light and dark isn't so clear-cut. It's a timeline that challenges our understanding of the Force, the Jedi, and the very nature of power in that galaxy far, far away. Conclusion. As we wrap up our journey through this alternate Star Wars timeline, it's clear that without Disney's influence, the saga could have taken some truly unexpected turns. The never-ending Clone Wars, Ahsoka's crucial role, Anakin's potential redemption, and the Empire's altered rise all paint a picture of a galaxy far, far away that's both familiar and refreshingly new. This reimagined Star Wars universe challenges us to think about the nature of storytelling and canon in beloved franchises. What makes a story official? Is it the creator's original vision, or can new interpretations breathe fresh life into a well-known tale?